Before showing you a very important table about returning, which is repentance, on 5782, which is 2021, 22. This is the year we started just now. And definitely the years 21 and 22 are basically in 1 year of the Jewish one, 5782. But before seeing the table, let us see very important saying verse of our sages in the Talmud, Sanhedrin 97a. Very, very important, really. It is unfortunately that I see people don't follow my YouTube properly, and also, unfortunately, don't lack knowledge, so they come to wrong ideas, not understanding. So, where is the Messiah? I said Messiah is coming. I never said the Messiah is coming. I said that Messiah is waiting for repentance. As the Rambam says, Israel will not be redeemed unless they repent. So, clearly, this year that we went through Tafshin Pe'alef 5781, as a Khatam Sofer says 190 years ago, that this year will be a year of redemption. But what he says that the letters of this year are Me'ashpot Yarim Eviom, from the Psalm, which says, from the refuse we lift the needy, we lift up the needy, So refuse we have a lot now in Israel. You see this government which is against the Torah, Lapid, Lieberman, and no Orthodox, and difficult situation, unfortunately. So, refuse, but it's written not in that Messiah will be in this, the process of Messiah will be exactly this. This is exactly what the Talmud says more than 2,000 years ago. This is Sanhedrin 97a, one can see it. So what is written there? Sabbatical cycle, during which the Messiah, son of David, comes. So this is what is written there, and definitely it's written every year, but I take this really relevant to our time. So what is written there? During the 6th year, heavenly voices will be heard. So Rashi, the commentator Rashi, says, voices, the son of David is coming. Listen, clearly, it means voices will be sound. Here, in my YouTube, lot of voices. I thought about repentance was there, and this was missing, unfortunately. It was still find difficult to keep the Sabbath, find difficult to keep the Torah. No, so difficult, so it's difficult also. Corona, Delta, and all the things. Then now comes the 7th year, where we are now. During the sabbatical year, this is the 7th, the war of Gog and Magog will be waged involving the Jewish people. Unbelievable. More than 2,000 years ago, I said about this year, when already Iran threatened, right? He almost used the bomb, and Israel threatened to fight and far away from being really. This is so clearly the 6 years that you have, 571 full of voices, Ben David, Messiah, but no repentance, as the Rambam said. This year that we came in, we hear a lot of sounds, voices, Iran threatens, Israel threatens, and who knows, and other nations, Russia and so on, all over, there are threats of war. So let us see the table, very important table, and once in the Torah. So, what we have here, once in the Torah, Shuva, return, when on the year 700, and the continuation is here, 782. Right? So return Israel 782. No, what is going on there in this location of the Torah? Unbelievable. Exactly the story of the plague. Yeah, when the plague was over, and the plague, Magefa, Vayacha Magefa. This is a story, if you know, plagues took place in the desert few times. And this is the time when Jews lived with non-Jewish girls, the Moabites, which is very severe sin for a Jew to live with a non-Jew if she's not converted. And, the Holocaust, also, great rabbis related to assimilation. So, at that story, the Torah tells us that when Jews lived with Moabite girls, plague came and killed about 24,000, and stopped, But, finally, then we have another case when was a plague. This was with Korach. When Korach and his people rebelled against Moses, against the Torah, then they were swallowed by the ground, but plague came. When they complained against the rebels, Moses and Aaron, they said, you are guilty, because they said a plague came out and killed many people up till Moses said to Aaron, take incense, go in their midst, and the plague will stop. This is exactly what happened now. You see this government in Israel, heresy government, against the Torah, against the rabbis, allow the declaration of Shabbos, allow things against the Torah. No. So there's no surprise that there is a plague. The plague still carries on. What is today? How many today? 40,000 were found. Whatever it is, the plague is far away. So we have here Shuvah returned. This was a Shabbos, was Shabbos of repentance. And once in the Torah, God said, Shuvah return, Shuvah alive, Elohim, on the year Tafshin Pei Bet, on the year 5782, the sabbatical year, the year of wars. Satan, in the end of this, Messiah will come. Unbelievable, and all this, it is so true. If you read this in Sanhedrin, read it properly. And Rashi would say, voices, the son of David is coming. Exactly the voice. You could hear my voice also saying, but repentance was missing. So, what you have more here? The first thing you have the delta, which is most dangerous one, right? Coming really with the letter bet of Shuvah. I mean that delta, we said also the meaning of the word delta is like the door of repentance. If one follows my YouTube properly, I don't know if we have patience for this, but because of this, they come to wrong assumption. So this is delta. We said that the letter Daledam, it is Cancer, and Leo, what Bnei said, and Aleph is Rosh Hashanah. And the delta represents the door to God, to repentance. Unbelievable. This is what Bnei said. The story with, you should follow my YouTube, so read my book about the Zodiac. But unfortunately, people don't read, and therefore they read very superficially. They look at tables and come to questions and such nonsense. Pity. If one doesn't learn, if one doesn't go and understand and use his mind, so he will come to wrong assumption. So what we have here, once in the Torah, don't forget that returning on 5782, maybe this is exactly what the rabbi said, because of wars. Don't forget there are 150,000 missiles waiting there on the north. 150,000 exact. These are very, missiles which exactly know where to go. And imagine that this one today is a new president in Iran, very cruel one. For him, is no problem to send those 150,000, so in 1 second they say, there is opinion that the Gog Magog will take 7 minutes, 8 minutes, so now we cannot do that. If you send 150,000 missiles, maybe even in less than 7 minutes, Israel will not exist. This is what is written. All what I said is written. One should know. Yeah, so everything is relevant, right? And you have also missiles and rockets in the south. You have terrorists in Israel itself. You can see that the Arabs in Israel, when something like this happened, like in Lud, yeah, Jews and Arabs live together, and then suddenly the Arabs get up and kill people, kill Jews. So everything is this here. So let us see what is written again. So returning on 22, which is 71, 72, 22. Then redemption, hoping to be a small thing, but and also even son of Joseph, unbelievable. We know that before son of David becomes son of Joseph and Messiah. We should know that it's not so simple to have son of Joseph come next to Messiah. Yeah, people think that it's easy to make tables, and to have here minimum the Torah, Mashiach, Messiah is living. Fits with very much with what Rabbi said, Kabbalist, that Messiah even is in our midst, waiting, clearly. But no, people don't open the door for him. You have to wait for Delta to open the door, And what is the door? Repentance, As is written, Dovkei b'teshuvah, knocking with repentance, knocking on the door. Unbelievable. Then come Messiah also. You have Messiah here, and again Messiah, and Messiah, 3 Messiahs, because we have also Cyrus. Cyrus was called in Isaiah 45, chapter 45, Meshichim, my Messiah. God called him Messiah. Why? Because he recognized Israel. He allowed Jews to settle and even to build a temple. Exactly, we had somebody like this, Donald Trump, also. He believed in the prophets. He realized Israel being holy place and Jerusalem, right? Believe in the prophets. But there is a Satan. Who is a Satan? Democrat. Democrat is the same Gemara of Satan. Why? Because Democrats allow things against the Torah. They allow abortion. They allow homosexuality. This is exactly what brought to the flood. It's written, the Torah says in Genesis, you can read it, in English also you have it, read that the generation says I'm corrupted, and the explanation corruption was in abortion, and this is why the rain which brought the flood lasted for 40 days, because God wanted to indicate to people, you caused me to create creatures and fetus, embryos of 40 days. 40 days already have meaning. And because of you caused me to create them and to destroy them, I will destroy you. Then came the flood and destroys the whole world. Now our rabbis tell us, God said, I will not make floods all over the world, but I make floods in Germany, also maybe in New York, There are floods, but not all over. To remind us what brings to the flood, transgressing the Torah. Gentile also have to keep the 7 laws of Noah. No, they don't keep it. You see, this Biden, that Obama allows such terrible thing to destroy, to kill people, children. These children could grow to be great people. So only for enjoyment, people give everything. It's unbelievable. And this comes the verse of the Torah, which says, and this is instruction, the laws of the rules that the Lord your God has commanded me to impart to you. Unbelievable. Clearly comes and telling us that this is what we should do, should keep the Torah, should learn about the Torah. Non-Jews should learn about the Gentiles should learn about 7 laws of Noah, what they are, and the same definitely Jews, No, but the Satan is very strong. He feels that his end is coming, and really his end is coming. So he's doing everything. So he made terrible government in Israel, heresy government against the Torah, leftists, and the no-orthodox in this. So this is a sign that we are very, very near to the Messiah, because one of the signs of Messiah is the darkness, the great darkness before the morning. the greatest darkness in the night before morning is exactly before morning. So this is exactly where we are now. So very interesting and significant table, as I said, once in the Torah, Shuva, return, God called that return Israel. Look, there is a delta. I brought delta to realize there is a God. 2/3 in the United States realize there is a God. Only, unfortunately, they forget that they got 7 laws of Noach, and abortion and homosexuality is the most severe one. So, let us hope that really they will return to God, then redemption will come, then Messiah will come, and son of Joseph will come, with really Ephraim, and the plague will really cease, stop, like exactly at that time it happened, when Jews repented, when they did Shuvah. So very important and significant table for our time, and remember, please, that there is a Talmud more than 2,000 years ago who says that during the 6th year, heavenly voices will be heard, and these heavenly voices might be the YouTube, which clearly showed, that when David Messiah about repentance, no, now we enter the 7th year on this Talmud said during the sabbatical divorce. This is the 7th war of Gog and Magog. Unbelievable, exactly threats of war we have today. Will be involving the Jewish people, what they said, what Lapid said, he said that Israel will have to fight. Will not take consideration what the state says, but Israel will fight. No? What do you mean better than 2,000 years ago? All of the rabbis told us exactly what is going on. So hoping that really people will look at my tables properly, try to listen. Difficult English, but make efforts to understand. You have now this, because without this, people will come to wrong assumption, and really, unfortunately, it's bad. No understanding, no thinking, not trying to understand, but being superficial and to look only on the letter of the table and then already come to that. So interesting and important and significant table for our time.